Good afternoon, this is Hound Steve coming to you on December the 30th, and this is going to be a breaking news piece about the problems in France right now. And to sort of put this in context, this is the continuing story, or saga shall we say, of the Yellow Vest protests. Been taking place in Paris and France since November. They have now spread around the world, and this is an ongoing dialogue and a narrative as to how this plays out and how this will affect us down the road if these protests continue to grow and our leaders fail to recognize the importance of what the people in these protests are telling them. I'd also like to thank all of the new subscribers to this channel, and I'm going to be bringing you all kinds of international news, local news and national news, whatever I seem to pick up that seems to be a little out of the ordinary and could be of great interest to you, your lives, and maybe you can derive some meaning from that. Yes, so this is absolutely great. We're zooming towards the 6,000 subscribers mark, and actually a big increase over Christmas time. I guess this is people sitting at home with just surfing on the net, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm glad that you can join us and join the conversation, and I'm guaranteeing you right now this is going to be an interesting conversation. You can take that to the bank. And right now there are some incredible things taking place in France. The Yellow Vest protests are going on unabated. This is now the incredible Act 7. Macron is in absolute crisis over there, and apparently his country home has been attacked by a number of protesters. And you know, one of the things that's caused a lot of ire about this country home is that they went and built a swimming pool. It's on the coast, a beautiful coastline, and they went and built a swimming pool because people don't like swimming in the sea, and they didn't want to be exposed to paparazzi. So anyways, this has caused quite some ire. It wasn't an expensive pool, but it was deemed to be decadent and arrogant. And this seems to be the big problem right now, is the decadence and arrogance of our elitist type leaders. Now there are protests planned again for New Year's Eve, and this is just in recognition that these protests are not going to stop, and you'll see from some of the clips that I've located over the last couple of hours or so that reiterate at this point. So let's just go over those and take a quick peek. It just should be a short video, just because it's kind of breaking news here. So let's take a look at those, and we'll come back and wrap up. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Sunday Express. Yellow Vest protests today. Where are Yellow Vest protests? Macron in crisis. And this was published December 29th. Yellow Vest protests have broken out in Paris again just days after demonstrators attempted to invade Emmanuel Macron's holiday home as the French president is facing a chaotic finale to 2018. More than 40 Yellow Vest protesters tried to storm the French president's holiday home as pressure mounts for Emmanuel Macron to step down. Demonstrators reportedly shouted, "Macron resign," as they tried to enter the heavily protected building. And today it was announced the anti-government protests that have rocked France will continue well into 2019, with the fresh protests breaking out today and more demos planned on New Year's Eve. The Yellow Vests are still mobilized, said Laetitia Dewal, one spokeswoman of the protest movement. Yellow Vest representative Benjamin Conchy said protesters will be out on New Year's Eve to show that the mobilization will not end in the new year. Conchy warned, if the concessions made so far by President Emmanuel Macron did not add up, we will end up with a large-scale mobilization in late January. Where is Emmanuel Macron's holiday home? Emmanuel Macron's holiday home is at the medieval fort of Brégançon on the Riviera coast near Toulon, France. The Yellow Vests were turned back by police. The mayor of nearby Bornes-les-Mimosas, François Arizi, told on Friday. The local mayor said on Thursday, "It's madness. For people who want democracy, they should start by respecting other people's property." they have been trying to cross private land and say they are going to have another go on Friday. This is unacceptable. And of course, this is an interesting statement. For people who want more democracy, they should start by respecting other people's property. Well, I think this is actually a tit for tat, because these ruling elites have not been respecting our democracy at all. No wonder they are upset. Global Times, French Yellow Vest protest planned for New Year's Eve. Government measures insufficient to stop movement. The Yellow Vest anti-government protests that have rocked France will continue on Saturday and New Year's Eve and into 2019, several sources from within the movement said. RFI. Yellow Vest prepare for New Year's protests. A seventh wave of Gilets jaunes demonstrations is expected in cities throughout France on Saturday and New Year's Eve, whilst President Macron has been spotted holidaying in Saint-Tropez. Oh, how nice. How nice. And what is it we just saw but Emmanuel Macron in the Palais of Versailles, sitting at King Louis XIV's writing desk, all surrounded by gold and gilt, trying to tell us that he is just an ordinary person. Oh dear me. And here again at the Sunday Express, France riots, Macron protests reignite in Paris, police fire tear gas at yellow vests. French citizens are facing another day of chaos, with yellow vest protesters taking their rage to the street, already clashing with riot police officers armed with tear gas and water cannons. On what has been dubbed the seventh act of the Yellow Vest protests, demonstrators fed up with Emmanuel Macron's policy are taking their rage to the streets of Paris and other French cities. But thousands of police officers are ready to face them once more, after they clashed multiple times during the past weeks when the protests turned violent. While the biggest march is expected to take place in central Paris, turmoil has already been registered in Rouen, where officers launched tear gas against protesters after they were confronted with missiles, according to reports. And you have to remember that the police now are getting stretched to the limit. This is November the 17th these protests started, and they have been ongoing every weekend, getting more chaotic and more violent in the process. And so you only have 89 to 90,000 police officers, and they are basically out on the street every weekend. Some of them are getting injured, some of them losing heart, because you have to remember these are their own countrymen. These are rural citizens who've come into the city to protest. So of course, it's hard to fight against your own countrymen. These are your people. These are your people. They could be your children. Could be your parents. So I think the police, I think they may again join in and turn against Macron. In several protests now, the police have actually taken off their helmets, put on yellow vests and sided with the protesters. And this is a very interesting, and for Macron, a very dangerous turning point in these protests. So I think you can see that this is not going to go away very soon, that these people are serious, people are seriously irate, and I really don't think that our leaders are going to wake up anytime soon. They're just so trapped in their echo chamber. As I read in that piece the other day from Zero Hedge, mock democracy. This is to give you the idea that you live in a democracy, whilst in reality you have absolutely no point of contact with the ruling elites, because they are completely surrounded by a dense layer of bureaucrats and bureaucratic committees that basically block your access to them. And so democracy has just become another meaningless word thrown on the trash heap of history. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe below. Click that big red button, it really helps when you do. And leave a comment, love to hear what you say, and we will talk to you very, very soon. You take care, have a great afternoon now. See ya. Bye.